everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Ring's Edge. My name is Sarah, and I will be your host. This video, we are going to be covering April 24th through the 28th. I purposely waited because of the draft. That will all be in a separate video, so we can break down the draft differently. But right now, we're just going to cover everything that happened on the shows this week. And then talk about some other stuff. If you don't know by now, Dark, AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation have been canceled. As of the week of the 24th of April. There is rumors of a possible new show coming to either TNT or TBS, one of the two, called Collision, and it's going to be Saturday evenings at 8, and they're going to try to, AEW is going to try to do a brand split like WWE is doing, with CM Punk returning and headlining and being the main the main guy on Collision. Nothing has been formally announced yet. It has just been rumors, but they will probably formally announce it here within the next few weeks, just because they want their first start date to be like the 17th of June. So, and that's coming up quickly because we're already May 7th today. So the days go by fast when you get older, apparently. At least that's how I feel. So let's start out with Monday Night Raw from the 24th of April. We started the show with Cody Rhodes. He comes out and he's talking about the draft. He's talking about what Lesnar did to him with attacking him 3 weeks ago. And I apologize if you see a cat because she's walking across. Rhodes then proceeds to take his shirt off, unbutton his shirt and take it off. And he shows off the scar that he received after Hell in a Cell 2022, where he had to have his bicep repaired because of that tear that he had. So he shows off the scar that he got, and he's like, we all get them. We all get scars. I just keep, we just keep up and keep going, pretty much. Rhodes then tries to provoke Lesnar into coming out. Rhodes says that the WWE Universe, carried him to the finish line that night at Hell in a Cell to keep him going. He then thanks everyone for all that they did. And then, of course, we get an interruption. But it's not who you think it is. We get an interruption from Finn Balor. Balor comes out and says that they all have scars. All the wrestlers, everybody has some form of scars from matches that have happened. Balor says that Rhodes got screwed over at WrestleMania because he didn't have anyone in his corner. Unlike the Bloodline, Roman Reigns has the Bloodline. Balor says that Rhodes can't defeat Lesnar by himself. And he says that Rhodes says that he's not buying what Balor is selling. Balor wants Rhodes to join Judgment Day, but Rhodes declines and says he's medically cleared tonight and he is challenging Finn Balor in a match in the main event. So your first match of the night is a 6-man tag team match. The Usos and Solo Sokoa versus LWO. And the winners of that match is the Usos and Solo Sokoa. We then see Damage Control in the back talking with Bianca. And a 6-women tag team match comes out of that between Damage Control and Bianca Belair and 2 partners of her choice. Now, we don't know who that's going to be until later on in the show. We then go to Sami Zayn is once again trying. I don't even know why he bothers. Just because, I guess it's Sami Zayn. But he tries to talk sense into Jey Uso again about everything going on with the bloodline and how it's going to crumble eventually. We returned to last week where Trish Stratus wanted a thank you for everything that she's done in the women's division, and then she admitted to attacking Lita. The second match of the night is the Street Profits versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. The winners coming out on top are the Street Profits. We then have this big announcement that we were told earlier in the day that we were going to be getting, if you've paid attention to Dirt Sheets. So Triple H comes out. Triple H is talking about being how he used to be at the highest level. He knows what it takes to get to the highest level. He then talks about Reigns, and he says wherever Reigns gets drafted to is where the undisputed WWE Universal Championship will go and will stay on that show. And he talks about Reigns not defending often because that's how his contract is set up. But then Triple H says that Reigns will, Reigns will stay on whatever brand he's on. The other show will crown a new World Heavyweight Champion come Night of Champions at the end of May. And he unveils the championship. Similar to the big gold belt, if you remember the big gold belt that we've had years prior. And Triple H says that the new champion will earn our respect and acknowledgement and not demand it. We return to the Monday After Raw, where the Judgment Day attacked Bad Bunny. The third match of the night is your 6-women tag team match. Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. Your winners of that match are Bianca, Raquel, and Liv. Austin Theory is in the ring, because he spouts off all the time. Bobby Lashley then interrupts. Lashley says that Theory is holding his title. Lashley asks Theory if he's just lazy or scared to face him. And Theory's like, well, I don't even know who requested this triple threat match anyways, because it's pointless. And Lashley says that he's the one that requested the match. Lashley attacks Theory after Theory makes a comment about Lashley's WrestleMania match. Bronson Reed then comes out and attacks Lashley after... Bronson Reed and Lashley then attack Theory until Theory and Reed form a temporary alliance to attack Lashley. Theory gives Lashley A-Town down, and Reed attacks Theory. That alliance didn't work too long, did it? Your fourth match of the night was Chad Gable versus Mustafa Ali. Mustafa, however you want to pronounce it. And the winner was Mustafa Ali. Your fifth match of the night was Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes, with Cody coming out on top. Seth Rollins then makes his way to the ring. He talks Backlash and the new title. Rollins says that he wants to be champion. Omos and MVP interrupt. They all talk Backlash. Rollins says that he is a once-in-a-lifetime competitor, superstar, and he will make Omos famous. Sami Zayn eventually gets into his locker room where Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle are, and they're discussing stuff. And Kevin Owens finds out that Sami Zayn went and was talking to the Usos. And of course, Kevin's upset, because what the heck, dude? Your sixth and main event of the night is Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Your winner is Rey Mysterio via DQ. Priest gets disqualified because he hits Rey with a chair. Yeah. Before Priest can continue his assault on Mysterio, Bad Bunny then comes out with a kendo stick and he takes out Priest. Bad Bunny is headed to Puerto Rico to face Priest in a street fight. So, and if you watched Backlash last night, you know. So this is the last week of Dark. So let's just go over those results really quick. Your first match of the night was Harley Cameron versus Mufasa. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm sorry if I'm not. And you can laugh at me all you want. But your winner is Harley Cameron. Your second match of the night was Lee Johnson versus Blake Christian, with Blake Christian coming out on top. Your third match of the night was Cesar Bononi and Ryan Nemeth versus Brock Anderson and Brian Pillman Jr. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking today, apparently. But your winners are Anderson and Pillman. Your fourth match of the night is Mai Suriga, which I'm butchering, I know, and Emi Sakura versus Rika Tahika. I'm butchering that too, and I know it. Make fun of me. And Ashley Demois. And your winners are Emi Sakura and Mai Suriga. Your fifth match of the night was Zach Clayton versus Jake Logan. Your winner was Zach Clayton. And your main event of the night was Varsity Athletes versus Dark Order, with Dark Order coming out on top. I'm a big fan of Dark Order. I like what they're doing. I especially like Johnny Hungy. Dynamite from the 26th. Your first match of the night is your International Championship. Now, if you've been watching these past few weeks, pretty much every week for the last, I don't know, it's been like 16 weeks it seems. 16, 17, 18, whatever. Orange Cassidy has been defending the International Championship against everyone. And this week is no different. This week he is facing Bandito, with Orange Cassidy coming out on top. After the match, Orange Cassidy gives Bandito a pair of his sunglasses, and they walk out together. Your second match of the night is Jeff Jarrett versus Dax Harwood. Your winner is Jeff Jarrett, obviously because he's a cheater. And no, I'm not a fan of Jeff Jarrett, but that's besides the point. If you've been watching Dynamite, you have noticed this build-up between FTR and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt. And they're all trying to get on the good side of Mark Briscoe. Now, they claim they're all friends. Now, we know for sure that Mark Briscoe and FTR are friends. But who's to say about the other ones? Your highlight of the night is when Tony Khan announces the Owen Hart Foundation tournament for the second year in a row. Starting with the opening ceremonies at Double or Nothing, which is the end of May. And then matches will take place at Forbidden Door. And concluding on July 15th in Owen's hometown. So that'll be interesting. Last year when we had the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, Britt Baker and Adam Cole won. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this year. Your third match of the night was Wardlow versus a no-name. With Wardlow coming out on top. And then Arn Anderson gives a pep talk to Wardlow since they're teaming up together. We go to the back where Blackpool Combat Club, because why not, attacks RJ City. And I've never really, like, I've heard of him because he is a YouTube show called Hey Ew. I've never watched it, but he has this show. The fourth match of the night is Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. And your winner is Sammy Guevara versus disqualification. Of course, because why not? So, MJF helps Guevara win. MJF and Guevara attack Allin after the match. Jungle Boy Jack Perry comes out to help Darby. It's announced that next week there will be a tag team match. Allin and Jack Perry versus MJF and Guevara. If MJF and Guevara win, the match will go on as advertised. If Allin and Perry win, it will be a fatal 4-way match at Double or Nothing. And I apologize, I don't know what's going on with my voice today. We return to last week where JAS attacks Adam Cole and handcuffs him to the ropes. And then Cole is forced to watch the Outcasts attack Britt Baker. Cole is in the ring and he calls out Jericho. Jericho refuses to come out and calls Cole a coward. Then the rest of JAS attack Cole, with Cassidy and Bandito coming out to help Cole. And then we get a surprise debut of Roderick Strong. Now, if you know anything about Adam Cole, you know about Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong was an ally of Adam Cole in WWE down in NXT. Well, Roderick is now here with his contract, I think, expiring with WWE, but he is now signed with AEW, and Strong and Cole hug it out. Your fifth match of the night is the TBS Championship match. Now, we've been seeing the build-up of this match for the past couple of weeks since Taya Valkyrie has come into the company. And her finisher being the Road to Valhalla, which is similar to Jade Cargill's Jaded. And the whole Mark Sterling thinking, doing the legal crap. That sort of thing. So in this match, Taya Valkyrie was banned from using the Road to Valhalla finisher. So she had to figure out another usage, another finisher to use, which, she has a bunch. So the fifth match of the night was this championship match with Jade Cargill coming out on top. And then we find out that, we see where Valkyrie attacks the referee and tries to put her in the Road to Valhalla. And we find out eventually that she is suspended indefinitely. So that's why she hasn't been on programming. Sixth match is Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita versus the Butcher and the Blade. The winners of that match are Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita. The Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite get into a brawl to end the show. We find out that on May 10th, Omega will face Moxley in a steel cage match. So there's no interferences with that. Which, is good because you don't really want interferences, with that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. I'm looking down at my iPad because I have all the results on my iPad, and so it's just easier just to look them up. So if I glance down, that's what I'm looking at. Excuse the cat in the background. She's a butthole. So let's talk Ring of Honor from the 27th of April. Your first match is Athena versus Lady Frost. Athena's been doing this thing lately that it's almost like number one contenders matches. I think they're called like proving ground matches or something. But they're almost like number one contenders matches in a way. And Athena came out on top. Your second match of the night is the Infantry versus LFI, with LFI coming out as the winners. Your third match of the night is Best Friends versus Mookie Summers. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And Joe Ascalo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too, because I didn't, but your winners are Best Friends. Your fourth match of the night is Brian Cage versus Leon Ruffin, with Brian Cage coming out on top. Your fifth match of the night was Sunny Kiss and Jeeves K versus Dark Order, with Dark Order coming out on top. Your sixth match of the night was Diamante versus Sky Blue, with Sky Blue coming out on top. Your seventh match of the night was Lee Moriarty versus Rocky Romero, with Lee Moriarty coming out on top. And your main event of the night was Gringo Loco versus Blake Christian, with Blake Christian coming out on top. I do apologize again. I'm looking at my iPad to get my results, and for some reason I'm all miscombobulated, and aha, okay, that would be why. I forgot when I post my results on the blog, I tend to do the order of which they appear on TV, and this past week and last week Rampage was on before SmackDown. So I put Rampage before SmackDown on the blog. And of course, that just confused me because it does, apparently. But your first match of the night of Rampage is Ricky Starks and Shawn Spears versus Juice Robertson and Jay White, with your winners being Robertson and White, and forming the new Bullet Club Gold. The Firm then attacks Isaiah Cassidy. The Firm versus Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook will take place at the Hardy compound next Friday, or this past Friday on Rampage. Your second match of the night was Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes versus Brady Pierce and Charlie James. And your winners are Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes. Swerve Strickland and the Embassy come out and they stare down Lee and Rhodes in the ring. Ty Mello tries to talk sense into Sammy Guevara about MJF, but Guevara doesn't want to hear it. Your third match of the night is Anna Jay versus Ashley Demois, with Anna Jay coming out on top. But as we've seen in the past few weeks, Julia Hart comes after Anna Jay and attacks her from behind. Your fourth match of the night was The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus Cameron Stewart versus No Names, because I didn't catch their names. With your winners being The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Your fifth match of the night is Jay Lethal versus Cash Wheeler. Now, if you remember back on Dynamite, we saw Jeff Jarrett versus Dax Harwood. So, they're trying to demolish FTR separately. With Jay Lethal coming out on top. Now, Friday Night SmackDown is night one of the draft. The draft will be addressed in a separate video. We'll talk about it and how it laid out. So I'm just going to give you the results that happened with the matches and everything, and we'll talk about the draft in a separate video. So we have the first round of the draft, and then Triple H introduces the Usos. They come out, they're talking about the draft and their upcoming match tonight. Owens and Zayn interrupt. Owens says that he's done talking. And they just want to fight. And Owens and Zayn said that they don't care about anyone or anything except retaining tonight. Your first match of the night was LA Knight versus Butch, with LA Knight coming out on top. We then have the second round of picks for the draft. Your second match of the night is Street Profits versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus LWO, with the Street Profits coming out on top. We then have the third round of picks for the draft. Your third match of the night is Zelina Vega versus Sonya Deville, with Zelina Vega coming out on top. After the match, we see Rhea Ripley attacking Vega, but Vega does eventually get the upper hand. Then the OC come out, and the Viking Raiders interrupt, and a brawl breaks out between the two teams. We then see the fourth round of picks for the draft, and then Karrion Kross attacks Nakamura backstage. The fourth match and your main event of the night is a WrestleMania rematch for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, who are the champions, versus the Usos, with Zayn and Owens retaining. It was a pretty good week in that week of wrestling. I actually thought it was actually pretty decent, with the whole draft, the new championship being introduced, the Owen Hart Foundation coming back this year. So it's interesting to see the breakdown of everything. But yeah, so that's that week. That is the week of April 24th through the 28th. Thank you for joining me, and I'm sorry that this is kind of short. I don't know what's going on with my voice, that it's just deciding to act up today, apparently. But remember, I am also doing the draft in a separate video, like I've said. So that will be after the next draft, which is Monday, which is what we're going to talk about next in the next video. So join me on that video. Let me know if you want me to add anything, if you want me to change anything. Remember to check out all the social medias, which will be linked down below. We're on Instagram, Facebook, my blog, which will be linked all down below. And remember, we are always taking it to the ring's edge.